Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me once again today, and welcome to Starsector. We're going to be starting our game off today. We're going to be exploring Starsector, at least for a while. I don't know if we're going to do a full playthrough, because a full playthrough of this game can be as long as you want it to be. The one game that I've been playing in Starsector has lasted me for hours and hours and hours and hours. So, first things first, don't expect me to be a whole lot of good at this game, because honestly, at combat, I'm fairly mediocre. There's a reason why I tend to drive capital ships when I can and not have to do a ton of maneuvering and rely on my firepower. But let's hop into a new game. We're gonna turn off the help pop-ups. Don't really need them. Actually, no. I'm gonna leave those on so that you can see them. You can choose sector age, sector size here. You can also choose iron mode, which I'm not going to do just because I've had bug problems with pretty much every game that I've ever tried to do Iron Man on. So we're gonna be, Iron Manning this, but we're not gonna use the mode for it. For my face, I'm gonna pick, the ever popular blank spacesuit. And we will, of course, be General Confusion. We've got a mixed sector age, so we can have a wide mixture of the age of stars and planets and constellations and etc. And let's carry on. So, our most recent occupation, a bounty hunter with a Wolf-class frigate, so we start with a small but deadly frigate ship, a Wayfarer, high capacity but not super good in combat, cruiser with built-in mining drones, an Apogee-class cruiser, so you have a tanker, some cargo capacity, and a fairly solid cruiser for fighting, a small force aboard a Hammerhead-class destroyer, or a freelancer with a randomized collection of ships. In general, I would say that this is probably the strongest start. This gets you a ship that's very tough, but honestly not that good at fighting. This gets you a ship that's good at fighting, but fragile and requires a good hand on the controls, which of course, as I said, I don't really have. So, we're not going to do that one. This is pretty solid. Tell you what. Let's start with the Apogee. So we've got an Apogee, a Condor, a Wayfarer, a Shepherd, a Tanker, and 18,000 credits. We're going to go on normal, not easy. And let's skip the tutorial. I can explain things as we go. So I start off with 3 character points, which I can assign to first my categories, and then I can use those to get skills. You can only get skills up to the level of your category, as it were. Combat, leadership, technology, industry, etc. There's a few skills that you really kind of need to have that are very, very important. The first is Electronic Warfare 1. Your ECM rating. In combat, your ECM rating is compared to the ECM rating of your opponent. And if your ECM rating is higher, as it explains that up there on the screen, but if it's higher, then you reduce the weapons range of the enemy, and if the enemy is higher, then they reduce your weapons range. So Electronic Warfare 1 is really, really valuable to have, just to prevent other people from overwhelming your EW rating. After that, there's a whole bunch of skills that you want. In this game, I think I'm not going to do empire building. As I said, I might cut off earlier, so I'm not really going to need many of the industry skills. I'm not going to need industrial planning, not going to need colony management. I'm also not going to need a number of the leadership skills. I'm not going to need planetary operations, or what's the other one? I do definitely need fleet logistics. Fleet logistics... Actually, no, I don't need fleet logistics. Fleet logistics level 2 lowers the number of supplies that your ships use, which can be very, very useful. Beyond that, it's mainly about... well, you do still kind of want fleet logistics. It gives you extra combat readiness as well. I think I'm going to grab a point in leadership as well, and we'll start the game. Okay, so here we are. We're going to pause the game real quick. We begin in the Corvus system here. We've got Jangala, which is a hegemony world. There are a number of factions in the universe, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And we begin with this nice little fleet. And we can look at our fleet here. So we've got our Apogee-class cruiser, the ISS Asi. We've got the ISS Jodwindian, a light carrier with 2 light interceptor squadrons. We've got a Wayfarer, the ISS Tirnanog. We've got a Shepherd-class drone tender. These are actually pretty nice ships just because they have the borer drones and surveying equipment. And then we have a tanker, no good in combat, but carries a bunch of fuel for us so that we can go long distances. So let's look. Let's actually fly to the nearby planet and look at our ships. Yep, okay, so cargo trade screen. This tells you what this is. We're not going to show that again. So we can go to the refit screen and see what we're set up with. Refitting when you're at a space station, by the way, is much superior to trying to refit in the middle of space, because refitting in the middle of space lowers your combat readiness, and having higher or lower combat readiness affects your combat performance. So we start off with this Apogee. We have a mining blaster, which is honestly a pretty shitty weapon. We could buy a high-intensity laser from the black market, which is probably a really good idea. Or we could have a phase lance or a pulse laser, so a couple of different weapons. Mining blasters in general are quite bad. They cost a lot of flux. Flux is the energy of your ship. Flux builds up. If you get over your flux capacity, your ship overloads and can't do anything for a while. And you also build up flux from taking hits on your shields. So you want to try and keep flux low. And particularly, you want to try and keep your flux dissipation up approximately equivalent to the amount of flux that your weapons generate. So as I said, I have a mining blaster. It does quite a bit of damage, but it costs a ton of flux. 700 damage for 1200 flux, so bad gun. We have a Pilum Launcher, which I would say is probably not a great idea. Pilums are very slow, long-range missiles. They fire in volleys of 3, so you can keep up kind of a constant, very long-range pressure, but overall I would say not really worth it. We're going to buy a Sabo SRM pod there, so we can try to use it to knock down shields. Salamander's not bad. Salamanders will home in on enemy engines, so they're pretty solid weapons. Like I said, I would like to buy this high-intensity laser. It has pretty long range. It's a beam weapon, so it doesn't do any... The flux damage that it does to shields can be dissipated while the shields are still up. There's a distinction between hard and soft flux. Hard flux is done by projectile weapons or non-beams, essentially. And in order to dissipate it, once you've taken it on the shields, you have to drop your shields for some period of time. Soft flux can be dissipated while the shields are still up. So the high-intensity laser doesn't do any hard flux, but it does do 500 damage a second. And it's relatively efficient in terms of flux per damage, so that wouldn't be a bad choice. The phase lance is shorter ranged, and it fires a real short period beam, or we could have the pulse laser, which is just constant hard flux energy damage. A little bit less efficient, and it does less damage overall, of course. I'd like to get the high intensity laser if I could. In order to do that, however, I would need to drop a bunch of ordnance points as well. I'm actually just going to take out some capacitors and get the pulse laser instead. So, we have a variety of point defense lasers as well. Those two I definitely think I want. Don't think I need a point defense laser there. So I can just cut that out, and now we can group our weapons. So, we're going to put the tactical lasers and the pulse laser all in group 1. Those are all firing forwards on hard points, and we're going to link them. Our point defense lasers are all going to be back here on auto fire, and the Salamander and the SRM we're actually going to put on the same group. And we're going to have those linked as well, so we can fire them off at the same time. Now down here you can see we have this Condor class cruiser. It has very, very light weaponry, light autocannons, a Salamander pod so it can fire some missiles to try and take out the engines of anybody chasing it. It also has compromised armor, so its armor is pretty sad. Reminds me, over here on our Apogee, we have high-resolution sensors, so better sensor strength, surveying equipment, which is good for surveying planets, a dedicated targeting core to increase the range of our weapons, a flux distributor to increase our dissipation, and an unstable injector. I don't need the flux distributor, actually, and I'll tell you what. I am going to swap that out for the high-intensity laser for specifically that reason. You can see our weapon flux per second is a good bit lower than our flux dissipation. The unstable injector reduces our weapon range, but increases our top speed. I could see that being a good idea. And the dedicated targeting core is increasing our range by 35%. The unstable injector reduces it by 15%. So overall, we're still getting higher than listed range by 20%. So this is a 1200 range weapon. So are these, essentially. And yeah, removing it would lower our top speed to 60, and I think having the top speed is probably a good idea. So we're going to keep that. We can actually cut down on vents by, I think, quite a bit, since our weapon flux per second is so low. I could swap these boys out for ion cannons, which would do EMP damage. If you can get the shields down, then ion cannons can absolutely cripple enemy vessels. So I'll tell you what, I am going to swap those out for ion cannons. They are shorter ranged, unfortunately, so I'll have to close in more, but that's okay. And then that leaves me 20 more ordnance points, which I can use to give myself blast doors, reinforced bulkheads. Not sure what I want here. Blast doors gives me fewer crew casualties and more hull integrity. I'm going to take reinforced bulkheads and then 5 more capacitors. So I have a very large flux capacity, plus my shield is quite efficient, this being an apogee. I haven't actually really run with apogees before, but I think this will probably be a decent choice. Although the range, I might want the range of the tactical lasers. Tactical lasers have double the range. Yeah, okay, let's stick with the tactical lasers for now. We'll try the ion cannons later. Alright, everything else is fine. Never mind, my weapon groups should be okay. Yep, got the tactical lasers. The drone tender basically just exists to deploy these border drones, which are weak but cheap. The Wayfarer class has some actual weaponry, a light dual autocannon, a light assault gun, so it can fight like enemy frigates. Has some machine guns for point defense, and an ion cannon. And then the carrier just needs to stay out of combat, essentially. Let's take those down. Let's get a light dual machine guns for point defense there instead of autocannons. That'll be fine. And weapon flux per second is now almost nothing, so we're going to cut the vents out. Spend all those points on capacitors. I would like to give it an unstable injector, actually. Because, well, it increases fighter replacement time. Yeah, it's probably a bad thing. Let's give it reinforced bulkheads instead. Try and keep it alive if someone chases it. Okay, so that is where we are. Let's look at the dockside bar and see if we have any jobs for us. So the quartermaster, she wants fuel instead of transplutonics. That is probably a monetary upgrade, so I'm going to do it. There we go. And then this person needs 470 units of organics transported to Cibola for 17,000 credits. I don't have really enough cargo space to do that, so I'm going to leave it for now. So, if we go to Jangala, apparently we're being tracked. I don't know why. Oh, we're being tracked because we engaged in black market trade. So you see that hegemony fast picket is patrolling me. Since I bought weapons off the black market, and I have my transponder on so they can tell who I am, they're just going to chase me down. That's fine. I'm just going to stay here. I don't have anything illegal on in my fleet. So he's going to... No contraband found. He looks vaguely displeased, and he leaves me alone. Now we'll go to Jangala. Now, on the open market, you end up paying a 30% tariff on everything you buy and everything you sell. It's pretty painful. On the black market, you don't pay that tariff, so you make a lot more money. But, well, then you're trading on the black market. People can get a little bit short with you, shall we say. I am, however, going to buy this makeshift shield generator mod spec, which will enable me to install that on ships that don't have a shield. And I'll sell those just to defray some of the costs. There is a hegemony military market here, which you can't use unless you are a member of the hegemony military, which I am not. So you can see all these things in red, they won't sell to me because I'm not a member of their military. I'm not commissioned with the hegemony. They will sell me accelerated shields and armored weapon mounts, and I'm just going to buy these once again. I really want to learn all of these things that I can, just to have them available. On the black market, they've got advanced turret gyros, also a pretty good one, but I don't really want to engage a black market trade right now because there are patrols around, and my transponder is on. So, let's look at the map, shall we? Here is the sector. Here are all the worlds that I know about, the core worlds. Most of these are settled. You can see here that's Asconia is settled by the Sindrian Diktat. Algabar is settled by the Ludic Path, who are basically space terrorists. Over here we have Tritachyon and Independence, and then a pirate orbital station. Got the hegemony and some independence. Corvus has hegemony, independence, and pirates. Aztlan is owned by the hegemony, as is Galatia, albeit with some pirate presence. So you can see things are kind of scattered around. Naraka over here is a hegemony system. So is Arcadia. Duzak right there is unexplored, has nothing in it, so that might be an interesting place to go and look for stuff. If we go to the Intel tab, we can see all of the new stuff that's popped up that we could potentially do. So there's a system bounty in Corvus, which is where we are right now, where they will pay you to kill pirates, and that's probably a good idea for something to start off doing. It's pretty easy cash. If you engage a couple small pirate fleets, you can rack up a pretty significant amount of money. A lot of these bounties are way out on the corners of the map, and it's hard to get there early in the game unless you build specifically for it. One way to start this game out is actually by just selling off or scrapping all of your ships except for a tanker. Tankers only cost 1 fuel per light year, and they can carry 300 fuel. So you can go a long way, because the sector is only about 50 light years across, 60, 70, something like that. So a tanker, just by itself, can cross the entire sector multiple times, and it's fast. It has maximum burn of 9. You can increase this more with skills or with minor mods. And then this Dram-class tanker by itself can outrun anything that it can't fight, which is nothing. It can't fight anything. So, we're here. There's a bounty on pirates. We have a fairly powerful cruiser plus some support vessels. We're going to fly around and see if we can find some pirates to kill. I'm going to activate my sustained burn, which will make me faster, at the cost of making turning slower. So you can see my maximum burn right now is 16. If we look at my fleet, we'll be able to see who's being slow. So maximum burn of 8, it's that. This cruiser is slowing me down. Everything else is a little bit faster. Maximum burn of 10 there, 9 there, 9 there. So our sustained burn essentially doubles our burn level. So if we didn't have the cruiser, we could be going at 18. Now that is a pirate fleet which is chasing me. It has about as many ships as I do, but it's or worse, it doesn't have a cruiser or anything. So we are going to fight it. You can see here we have a cruiser, we have 3 fighter squadrons, and then we have a couple of frigates. It has some frigates, but very badly damaged ones, and then a very badly damaged destroyer. Structural damage, degraded engines, unreliable subsystems, increased maintenance, erratic fuel injector, all this shit. They do have a Mudskipper 2 class Hellbore frigate, which is pretty hilarious. Mudskippers are tiny, shitty ships with no shield, and Mudskipper Mark IIs are tiny, shitty ships with no shield and a giant gun mounted on the front. So let's take the fight to the enemy here. Yep, don't show this again. We're going to deploy everything and go into battle. Now, what I want to do is I do want to order somebody to escort my carrier, and then I want this drone tender to escort me so that I will have the drones very nearby. So you can see my firepower here is primarily frontal. I can, of course, fire my missiles. I don't want them on auto-fire, however. And I'm going to fire my missiles at him first, in an effort to take him out before he becomes a problem. My high-intensity laser doing quite a bit of damage. And there we go. Now, this destroyer here also needs to go. Come on. As you can see, I can't really do any hard flux damage to him, so I'm going to have to fire off some missiles. There we go. Now he's about fluxed out, and the lasers are starting to tell. He's firing a few rockets at me, but that's okay. Alright. He's actually faster than I am, isn't he? Yeah, he's got an Annihilator rocket launcher, so he's shooting rockets at me in an effort to kind of keep me under pressure. But with the missiles and all, I should be able to get rid of him. By keeping him under pressure here, I'm not letting him regenerate his shields, and now they go down, and we start doing a little bit of damage. But with the beam weapons, I'm not building up hard flux, so he's dissipating it as much as I am inflicting it, unfortunately. And of course, as I said, he is a little bit faster than me. So, we can see back in the other side here, my escort is keeping my carrier alive while she's being assaulted by these frigates. We're going to launch a fighter strike on that guy, just because I want him to die. So he's now closing in to try and fight, but that was a poor decision. And he's come into my effective range, and is taking a ton of damage from my lasers. Alright. Oh no, you don't have to worry about me. Unfortunately, I am out of sabos. Come on. There we go. And gone. Excellent. Good battle. Although this build, I definitely need some hard flux, because those beams are not cutting it. Let's pick through the wreckage. We found a nice little bit of scrap, and as you can see here, we got 10,000 bucks, and we advanced to level 5 off of one battle. So tons and tons of points. With those points, we are going to, I think, get a few skills for us. So, plus 10% flux capacity is never a bad thing. 3 more points. I'd kind of like to get some combat skills as well. I did take some leadership, though, which is important. Let's take the coordinated maneuvers #1, so that'll get me a little bit of extra top speed. Don't need any of the carrier stuff just yet. And with my last 2 points, we're going to take a point of combat, and we will take... What do we take here? Let's start with some basics. Let's take combat endurance. Get some more peak operating time. Yep, fleet supply consumption has gone up. That's because we fought, and when we fight, our combat readiness goes down. So you can see our fleet-wide combat readiness right now averages 60%. Max is 70%. We're using extra supplies in order to recover from that. That is an unidentified fleet, which should be a pirate, and we are going to go kill them. They've got a Mule-class freighter, which is tough, but not very dangerous. It does have a Reaper-class torpedo, which we have to watch out for. And then he's got Cerberus, a Wolf, Cerberus, Mudskipper, with an Arbalest autocannon, which is a pretty sad little weapon for something that size. So once again, we're gonna give ourselves some bodyguards and go to... Alright, and the Mule has already taken a whole bunch of armor damage that didn't really have to because it changed the heading of its shields at exactly the wrong time. Get a high-intensity laser on it. Get the sabos going. There we go. That's a little bit of damage. Alright, now, this guy doesn't actually have any shields. So I can take him apart pretty much at will with these lasers, especially the high-intensity laser. Go, and burn, motherfucker, burn. You can see there I actually just bumped my own little ship and did a tiny, tiny amount of damage to him. We're going to order a fighter strike on you. You only have so many command points, so you only have so many orders you can issue. They regenerate slowly over time, and once you've issued one order, the command frequency stays open for a short period, in which further orders are free. Sabos out. And this mule is going to be going down pretty shortly. And he hit me with a torpedo, but my shields were up. Come on, mule. Come on. You know it's time to die. Stop making this difficult on us. You're only hurting yourself. Alright. And here come the fighters. I don't need to keep my shields up at the moment. And he's overloaded. Come back here. There we go. So Skull Taker is dead. We're going to order a full assault. And there's only one enemy ship left. Let's vent out our flux. When you're at 0 flux, you get a speed boost. You can see my speed just went from 77 to 127, which can help you catch up to the last few guys on the map. Like this shielded Cerberus here. The fighters are probably going to tear him apart before I even get there, actually. Yeah, well, he might survive long enough for my lasers to come in range. Oh, turned too hard. Ah, you can see why I say my piloting is shit. There we go. And are there any other... Ah, yes, there is a wolf down there. Let's go finish him off. I thought the wolf was already dead. But yeah, I'm a big fan of turrets as opposed to hardpoints, to be honest. Just because it's a lot easier to aim when I don't also have to steer the ship. But that wolf is having a hard time being surrounded by all these fighters, which keep landing hits on the opposite side from where his shields are, and there he goes. The enemy fleet is defeated. Let's consider ship recovery, shall we? We could recover a very badly damaged wolf, or a very badly damaged Cerberus. Now, these D-mods that it has here, the damage or degradation mods, they're not all bad because they lower, as you can see here, they lower the recovery cost of the ship. So when you deploy, there's a certain amount that it will take to recover from the amount of combat readiness it uses up. That cost goes down if the ship has D-mods to it, and there are also various skills you can take that make D-mods either less damaging or kind of pay back in terms of reduced maintenance cost. So having some demodded ships around isn't a bad idea. That said, for wolves specifically, demods are often terrible because wolves rely on having very high performance to make up for their general flimsiness, so we're not going to recover that. But we are going to take all their shit, and we've got a bounty, as well as 2 more character points. So let's get... hard flux dissipation while shields are active is nice. Ordnance expertise is a really good one. Plus 15% flat weapon damage at level 3. Solid. As is helmsmanship. Helmsmanship is also very good. The other things you want to think about are plus 15% range from gunnery implants. That's a really good one. 10% flux dissipation is a really good one. Loadout design is a fantastic skill that's pretty much mandatory. Plus 10% ordnance points for all the ships in your fleet means you can just mount more stuff on them. Ordnance points are the limiter for, you know, what you can have. And minus 25% fuel consumption is a really good one as well. So let's grab Technology 2, Loadout Design 1, and our next 3 points will go into Tech 3, and then Loadout Design down to level 3 to max out our all of that. Right now I'm running dark instead, which makes me hard to see, but also means that I can't see very far or move very fast. So let's hit these pirates once again. They actually have some allies, which means this is a larger fleet than we had seen before, but none of it's very scary. They do have Arbalest autocannon there, Hellbore cannon there, that's kind of dangerous. Wayfarer, not very dangerous. Shrike could be dangerous, but it has a lot of demods and low armor, so I think we can probably take it on. And then the hounds and stuff, not impressed with. Also Buffalo, that's also not impressive. So let's deploy everything. We are a little bit low on CR, So let's see what we can do. I'm actually going to stay right near the carrier for now. Try to take some ships out early on, especially the shieldless ones. The Shrike is probably the single most dangerous vessel in the enemy fleet. So actually, let's see if we can take out the Shrike ASAP. See, he's charging me. And as you can see, he has much stronger shields than any of the ships that we fought so far. But that's not going to save him, because he just can't take the damage. Come on, you. There we go. That's some good damage right there. And the fighters, of course, are making it very problematic for him to do anything. And there we go. Shrike dead. Which means we can now focus our fire on some of these smaller and weaker ships that don't have any shields. Beams against shieldless ships, very, very efficient. The main weakness of beams is that they don't do hard flux. So, by turning them on ships without shields that don't need hard flux in order to take them on, you effectively negate that weakness. This Hound does have shields, but nonetheless, I think we can run its flux right up. This Wolf also has shields, but fuck off, Wolf. This guy got instantly overloaded by my missiles. And we punched through the armor. We haven't actually killed him yet, so come on. Come on, 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 come on. There we go. Oh, he's got a Hellbore cannon, which is a very powerful, large ballistic weapon, but he's only got one, and his ship sucks, so I can just burn him right out. This asshole's got some sabos. He thinks he's clever. Come on. You're not clever, you know. The fighters will finish off that guy. We're actually going to order a full assault. Come on, my shields are down. Don't you want to come attack me? Don't you want to? Oh. His engines are out, which is why he's spinning like that. And there we go. So, 3 little pirate fleets. Not a problem. He does have these guys that were not deployed, so we're going to pursue them. We're just going to order the second in command to handle it. Send everything in, and we'll take them out as well. Not going to try to recover any of these guys, but we got a whole bunch more money, and we did pick up the Hellbore cannon and a heavy mauler. Nice. So, if we take all that stuff, we go over our cargo capacity. If you're over cargo capacity, you end up spending more supplies per unit of time. You can see right there, we're spending 4 extra supplies per day. I'm willing to do that. I'm not very far from someplace I can go to offload stuff, like this metal. Metal is very heavy and doesn't cost a lot. So we're just going to do that. And some of my ships are now at very low combat readiness because I've been fighting all this time. So we are going to leave these pirates right behind, sail off into the sunset, and spend my other 2 character points. So one more... no, I pressed the wrong button. There we go. One more turn and I'll have the plus 10% ordnance points bonus. Now, what I'd like to get to either Jangala or Asharu without being seen with my transponder off. Nope, nope, back up. Those are pirates. I don't really want to fight more pirates right now. I'd like to just kind of creep on down around through the solar system. Are there any patrols at Jangala right now? Probably. If possible, yeah, there's a patrol at Jangala. And as you can see, if we get much closer, they'll see me. So we're just going to go to Asharu and sell our loot on the black market where we can make some money off of it. So on the black market, since we haven't been seen, we can do this. We're going to sell the metals. We're going to sell the mining laser because it's a shitty weapon. We're going to sell that because there's only one of it. We're going to sell heavy mortars I'm not really a fan of. We're going to sell those. The single machine guns. Annihilator rocket launchers we'll keep. We're going to sell the mining blaster because mining blasters suck. And there is an auto pulse laser, which might be better than the high intensity laser that I have right now because it does hard flux. And you kind of save it up and fire it in bursts. So I am going to buy... I don't need 2. I just need 1. And I think that'll be that. Then we go to refit. We're just going to swap that straight out for an auto pulse laser. The tactical lasers we'll leave as tactical lasers. Just, you know, they're just there. They'll do a little bit of pressure, I guess. In fact, no, I didn't mean to undo that. In fact, I think I'm actually going to put the tactical lasers in the auto fire group with the point defense lasers. So they'll just shoot at whatever's ahead of me. You know, won't be a problem. And it won't even affect my my OP. So there, we've got a Sabo pod. We've got the auto pulse laser. That'll be pretty decent. We're going to repair our ships real quick. So we spent 29 supplies getting everybody all ship-shape in Bristol fashion. And now let's see if they have any ships worth buying here. They do have a Shrike with 1... Oh, he has 3 D mods. That's a problem. They've got an undamaged Centurion. Centurions are not bad ships. They have 6 small hybrid slots, so they can mount a lot of different kinds of weapons. On the black market, they have a pirate mule, which ain't bad, and they have a completely undamaged Sunder. Sunders cost quite a bit of maintenance for what they are, and their recovery cost is high, but they do a lot of damage and they move fast. Might be worth having. Mules are only really good once you get there's a particular mod that you get that makes mules pretty solid. There is a Lasher over here. I'm gonna buy the Lasher to reinforce my little fleet. Yeah, I just bought a new ship, I know. So, Lashers have a lot of ballistic firepower and a couple of small missiles as well. So let's see what we got. We've got a light assault gun. We've got a couple of light autocannons for anti-shield work. We can put in there. In the other ballistic turrets, we can put light machine guns, so very close range weapons. And in the missiles, we can put Annihilator rocket launchers, or harpoons, or Reapers. Reaper class torpedoes are probably the best option there. So this ship is going to rush in. We're going to make that a light dual autocannon. So lots of ballistic damage here, lots of kinetic, which is doubly effective against shields. This guy's going to rush in, knock down the enemy's shields with the accelerated ammo feeder, and then drop the Reaper class torpedoes to explode the enemy as quickly as possible. We're going to max out vents, and we're going to give him safety overrides. So safety overrides basically makes the ship a berserker. It destroys the ship's lifespan, reduces peak performance time enormously, and reduces weapon ranges, but it increases flux dissipation and gives it a massive top speed boost. So with safety overrides, this guy is hella fast. His flux dissipation is hella high, so we can actually take off a lot of those vents that I just put on. And then I can use my other points to give him the unstable injector. So now his top speed is almost 200. He can scream in hyper quickly, blast somebody with all of his weapons, and then hit them with the Reaper class torpedoes. It's the kind of piloting that I'm bad at, but the AI might potentially be able to do it when it's set up just right. So we've got the light autocannons, light machine guns, light dual autocannon, all of them group 1, Reaper class torpedoes in group 2. And yeah, he's just going to charge into point blank range, wipe out somebody's shields with as much kinetic damage as possible, drop the Reaper class torpedoes, which do 4,000 damage each, and then run the hell away. He should be able to absolutely one-shot a destroyer with that kind of technique. And we'll spend the rest of the money in, actually, instead of vents, let's put it all in capacitors. Yep, okay. In any case, been running for about 40 minutes now, so that is going to be the end of the first episode. I don't know how well that SO Lasher is going to do, but I feel like it's a good idea. We're going to turn our transponder back on so that the hegemony doesn't try to arrest us if they see us. And I will see you all in the next episode. We might stick around, do a little bit more pirate hunting, but pretty soon we're going to light out for parts unknown and start our career among the stars. There's some things I want to pick up, some trading I want to do, some missions I should probably take on, and see what's what. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.